I'm starting to think Steph Curry's not as close as I originally imagined. And because of that, things are not good. This game was not good against the Lakers, and more bad news on the way. We'll explain. Locked on Warriors.
You are Locked On Warriors, your daily Golden State Warriors podcast.
What are they going to say now?
Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
I'm just here so I won't get fined, everyone. Happy Saturday night. Welcome into Locked On Warriors, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Thanks for sticking with us. To the sickos out there who can't get enough of the Golden State Warriors after they get absolutely bashed. Final score. Do you want to know the final score? 129-101. Lakers coming to chase and made sure that those that had plans to stay until the end, that were in town from that crossed the bridge from Alameda or came all the way in from Vacaville or all the way down south from San Jose, whatever, they made sure that, by the end of it, it's like, let's catch the back half of Thrive City or go downtown somewhere. Let's tap out here. The beers are expensive, the food's expensive, and the product on the floor is not very good. This is Locked On Warriors, everyone. I'm Charlie Walter, host of this show, formerly 95.7 The Game in San Francisco, and also CBS News Bay Area. Today's episode is brought to you by 5 Hour Energy. Have your cake and drink it too. Birthday cake flavors back. No fork is needed. Vanilla-y cakey flavor, caffeinated kick, and no sugar. It's party time. Order now at 5hourenergy.com or Amazon. See, originally, what I do during every game is I start off with notes. And it kind of allows me to get a feel for what's going on in the game, because sometimes the first half is a complete afterthought if you don't watch the last few minutes. This was one of those games where the notes, they come in handy, because everything from this game was told within 6 minutes. I mean, the Lakers raced out to a 15-point lead by the time fans got their popcorn. No crab sandwiches were secured until the Lakers had already made this thing a mockery. We got some bad news potentially on Steph Curry. At least the ambiguity of it is becoming a little more clear, that this is maybe a little more longer term than anyone had ever envisioned. We have the Draymond Green debacle that we'll continue to talk about, but we got to start off with just what happened in this game and the disgusting start the Warriors had. Draymond on the floor, we know that it's going to hurt the floor spacing a lot. And it's not Draymond's fault. Like, you can come out and say this team scores like 74 points a half, the last two games that Draymond hasn't played, and they score 101 in totality and just 47 points in the first half when Draymond starts. And there are a lot of metrics that point to this phenomenon, that the team is starting to play better without Draymond Green, but you cannot blame Draymond Green for the team shooting today. It was 27% from three, 12 of 44, but particularly to start. I mean, I recall a couple of Pods air balls. I recall about 4 DeAnthony Melton missed shots in the lane. I recall just not good basketball, not good movement late in the shot clock shots. And I do recall Gui Santos on the block making a really nice play, a real nice spin and kiss. Didn't go down, but Will Richard was there to hustle in. He gets it. He sticks it back up and in. Then Will Richard is injured. More bad news to add on top of this thing. Then we get a Steph Curry interview in the tunnel. It was not really good news for the Warriors. Dubs did not get any positive takeaways from that, because he let it slip that he hasn't even really started practicing or doing anything basketball related. The exact words that he said were, it's a pain tolerance thing. Doesn't seem like he's going to be back anytime soon. He hasn't even gotten back on the court yet. So I envisioned him scrimmaging and practicing and, getting ready through the All-Star break. Maybe not scrimmaging or practicing considering, but, running up and down the floor, getting some real work in, really testing out that knee. And it sounds like it's just been kind of, light workouts and nothing serious in terms of basketball. So been a little ambiguous, tough word, big word there. I mean, 129-101. Warriors lose by 28 points. Moody had 12. Gui Santos had 14. Congratulations to Gui, by the way. He's back on track with a nice game, 14. Not the 17 that he's been averaging as of late. But he's got himself a new contract. $15 million for 3 years. You could tell the emotion from him today. Steph Curry was talking about Gui Santos' story and how he was originally just excited to be in the league, to be given a fair shot to carve out some playing time. And from that to, a 3-year, $15 million extension for the second most valuable franchise in sports. I mean, that's a job well done by Gui Santos. So he's here for the longer term. And again, played a good game, had 1 turnover compared to his 14 points. Draymond Green. The conversation has to be had to a certain degree because the proof is in the pudding. Like every time that the Warriors go out there with Draymond on the floor as of late, it just has not looked as cohesive. They went with a small ball lineup to start. You can't point a finger to Draymond, who went 3 of 8, 6 and 6, 7 points as a sole reason why they lost this game. Now, he was a minus 30. The team was minus 28 overall. So you can't solely point to Draymond. But offensively, well, first of all, defensively, he didn't do anything to neutralize really anyone. I mean, LeBron had 22, 7, and 9. Luka Dončić had 26. Austin Reeves had 18. In fact, those 3 combined for all the Lakers' points. All the Lakers' points, whether through scoring or assisting in the first half, except for 3 buckets. That's it. Those 3 dudes beat you. This was a tale as simple as, like, they were kind of laughing about it, being sarcastic at halftime because Kenny called him the big 3 or whatever. And Ernie's like, does everyone have to be a big 3? But this Lakers clearly has a big 3. Like, it's LeBron, it's Luka, it's Reeves, and everyone else. I mean, Kennard at 16. Again, a Warriors killer, whether it's Memphis or LA. He hit shots. But outside of that, and LaRavia had 15 too. But really outside of that, it was a little bit of nothing. Whereas with the Warriors, it was a lot of everyone with a little bit from everyone. The 14 from Santos, the 10 from Melton, the 12 from Moody, the 9 from Podziemski, the 8 from Horford. Horford did play tonight. That's how closely people were watching this game. The 12 points from Gary Payton. Nate Williams played, had 7 points. Will Richard had 4. Pat Spencer had 4. Just overall, like, who would the Warriors' big 3 even be if you were to stack them up against the LA Lakers in this game? Truly. I mean, would you go Gui, Melton, Moody? Is that your big 3 going up against Bron, Luka, and Austin Reeves? And the Lakers hadn't been playing good basketball. They'd lost 3 straight. They lost the skeleton crew of the Suns the other day, but the Suns played better than the Warriors did tonight. There's no doubt about that. Golden State is out rebounded by 7. Again, they're spreading the wealth. Like the 30 assist mark is kind of their secret number where they win a lot of games. That's what they do. They score off assists. They beat the Lakers in that department, who had 29, where it's, not as pass heavy. You got some guys that can beat you on their own. The Warriors don't have anyone really that can beat you on their own. They have to spread the wealth. And still waiting to hear on what the injury is from Will Richard. We'll update you on that as the week goes on. But I think the biggest takeaway from this one wasn't even from the game. It was flat out the interview with Steph Curry, where it made it seem like, tell me if I'm wrong, chat. It did feel like Steph was kind of telling the faithful, it's going to be a minute. If it's going to be a minute, play-in's all but guaranteed. Let's see if we can get Steph back healthy. Because it does not feel like Kristaps Porzingis is going to stay consistently healthy. It doesn't feel like Kristaps Porzingis is even on the team at this point. It just honestly feels like somewhat of a straight-up salary dump to where there's no faith in anything he provides moving forward. But at the same time, the Warriors have said multiple times that that's not the plan. What is the plan with Kristaps Porzingis? When are we going to see him on the floor? How is he healthy game 1 after the All-Star break, ready to go and immediately sick again? What's going on? Steve Kerr had some comments on the radio that he took back. We'll get into all of this coming up on Locked On Warriors.
Destroy Jimmy and Domino's. I know Jimmy drinks great wine.
All right. So today's episode, first of all, is brought to you by our friends over at DoorDash. Now's a great time to get in with DoorDash because it's late at night. And what do you like to do late at night? You like to get some snacks. And DoorDash is something that'll help you out with your snacks. But not only that, it can help you out with your drip, your headphones. Send a sweater your way, and you'll have that in a pinch. The season's heating up. Get your tunnel fits. DoorDash is going to make the season way more fun. Every player has their bag, and with DoorDash, fans have one too. DoorDash keeps your snacks stocked, your gear fresh, and your watch party vibes absolutely on point. There are nights when your team stresses you out. Let DoorDash become your post-game therapy. Sometimes you just need dessert, and you need it now. Those late-night interviews, they hit, and all of a sudden, you need a little chips. You need the munchie. And the group chat says pull up. Make sure you got everything from snacks, cups, ice, maybe even a charger for that friend that's always at 2%. DoorDash in your bag all season long. Get snacks, drinks, gear, whatever gets you through the season, delivered right to your door. From tip-off to overtime, stay in your bag and order on DoorDash. All right, let's get back to the program.
Destroy Jimmy and Domino's. I know Jimmy drinks great wine.
What is going on with Kristaps Porzingis? This has been kind of an illness that has been on for a while now in terms of the, dealing with the POTS. We found out about it, in the postseason. So it's been nearly a year to where this first started creeping out, and only played in 17 games with the Atlanta Hawks. Steve Kerr came out on the radio and basically said Porzingis is out because he's sick. It's general common illness, and that this has nothing to do with POTS, and that, basically said the current condition is routine illness. He's making improvements, and shut down the whole POTS thing. It's been previously reported that Porzingis has been diagnosed with POTS, which is a condition that affects your heart rate, causes dizziness, just autoimmune. I think there are multiple types, but again, not a doctor here. But Steve Kerr said after consulting with the Atlanta Hawks general manager that this diagnosis was incorrect, that it, is misunderstood. And obviously he has not been on the floor a lot this season, some due to injury, some due to illness that keeps popping up. But Steve Kerr on 95.7 The Game basically said that, to where he was like, they misdiagnosed him. And then today came out and said, I misspoke. Basically, I'm going to stay in my lane. I'm a doctor, no comment. And there was a lot of no comments and a lot of, we have no idea when he's going to be playing. The question that I had for everyone was over under like 25 and a half games that he plays with Steph Curry throughout their career, whether Kristaps Porzingis is extended. And Eric Pincus came on the show earlier today and talked like salary cap numbers and why the pre-agency aspect of having Kristaps Porzingis in-house makes it more likely that you can retain him next season if you were to want to. And if that's the case, then the over on 25 and a half, you would think seems pretty fair. But half of me thinks like either they're going to hit that over 25 and a half together, or they're not going to play a single game together. Truly. Does anyone else feel that way? Because it doesn't feel like Steph's very close, and I have no idea what to think about Porzingis. I mean, we're, 60 games into the season? Something along those lines, and Porzingis has played 18, I think is the number. He's played 1 for the Warriors in, I want to say, 6 games. So looked good in the game that he played. I'd be excited to have him back for a postseason push, a play-in, hopefully home play-in game push. But what can you do, man? What can you do right now? That was ugly. Never even close. It was, 33-20 after 1, 32-27. LA scored Golden State in the second quarter. So you're looking at 17 points at halftime. The Inside the NBA crew made a mockery of the Warriors by basically, Chuck came out and was laughing about how the Lakers are contenders, being facetious. We all know he thinks the Lakers stink. And he's like, they're contenders beating this Warriors team. Sad. It's sad that this is what it's come to on primetime. But I do think that it exposes, once again, the biggest
internal question and the biggest subplot to this season right now. Obviously, the main plot's when Steph Curry going to be back? Can this team fight to get into the playoffs and have a shot? They're going to have an opportunity to fight because they're getting 7, 8, 9, or 10. We've discussed this. And with that opportunity, will they capitalize and give themselves a shot? That's your main plot of the season. Subplot is, what does everything look like moving forward? And Draymond Green has become one of those biggest ones. He's got a team option. I keep saying team. He's got a player option for next year that he can buy into and get 26, 27, whatever that number is, for one more season. That is money that could be spent on a player that can give you a lot more on the offensive side of the ball. And when your main task is to shut down the other team and the other team makes it look easy, I mean, from inside the arc, 53% overall. From outside the arc, 19 of 41, 46%. Out-rebounding the Warriors, getting to the line 20 times. At that point, is it like, obviously you need some defense, but that's a skill that, you know, when the margins are a little bit tighter, comes into play a little bit more than a defensive specialist that gives it right back on offense, because he is just not able to do anything. I mean, you see him catch it on the short roll all the time, or catch it in the lane, and he'll pass up a 5-foot floater to kick it out to Pat Spencer because he's not making the 5-foot floater. He's explained that he kind of lost confidence after the injury. And, you know, obviously the whole Kevin Durant had to take a back seat. Those are two main things to where he just never really felt confident after that injury and putting up that shot. He had to, you know, his hips were so jacked up basically that his form and his game completely changed, and he hasn't found his way with that shot. And I've always said it, like Draymond Green, Hall of Famer, right? All-time player. If he could have just figured out that, he may have had it at one point in his career, it's been so damn long, but figure out that 7-foot stop and pop and be consistent with it. I mean, you see how consistent Luka is with that shot when he catches it at that spot. Imagine if Draymond could finish it like Luka. Oh my God. And it doesn't seem that difficult. These are easy shots we're talking about, but it's been a long time. We've seen this now for a while. With Curry on the floor, they're able to make that two-man game work, and that havoc that they create, that confusion that the two of them together provide at all times. But without Curry on the floor, he just, I mean, you're running Nate Williams for 15 minutes tonight. So the fact that you're running 24 of Draymond, like, that's not the reason you lost. You can't complain too much. You don't have too many options. But Will Richard got hurt to give Nate Williams some wiggle room. Gary Payton's been playing good basketball. He had 12 more tonight on 6 of 10 shooting, plays hard, just, you know, pesky defensively. Maybe not prime Gary Payton defensively, but still a plus on that side of the ball. He's going to be someone that I think is pretty interesting in terms of whether the Warriors move on from him or continue to kick that can down the road of Payton, because I've always thought he was kind of like last piece off the bench, but he's been playing better than that these last few weeks. He's been even today when he wasn't shooting it well, he's just been gritty out there. It's gritty, not pretty with Gary Payton. We'll get into some final thoughts from the Warriors' loss today to the LA Lakers. I'm not going to try the microphone again, unfortunately. I'd give it one more try for the people and see if we could get a miracle, but I think the Warriors proved tonight that no miracles were happening. There wasn't even a run made at any point. Correct me if I'm wrong. There was, they may have cut it down to like 12 at one point, a 4-0 run. You're like, here come the Dubs. And no, they didn't have that firepower. Got some decent looks early, missed them, and then once they went down, it was just, you know, never a game, not a good Steph update, and the Porzingis experiment has not gotten off to a great start. It's gotten off to the start that I think 95% of Warriors fans were like, this deal doesn't make sense because of this solely. Sickness, injuries, not production. That part's always made sense. Hell, he looked good in his first game. Hasn't played since. This is Locked On Warriors. We'll be right back.
Who can stop Steph Curry?
Hopefully we'll never find out.
All right, everyone, get ready for the 5-hour energy flavor draft. We got 18 different flavors to choose from, including new options like confetti craze, fruity rainbow, cotton candy. There's something for everyone now. the board is set. The flavors are ready. I got my number one pick for the 5-hour energy flavor draft. I traded back to actually get the number 3 pick. That's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to have 2 flavors here. I'm going to go Fruity Rainbow at 3 and thank you, Chet. Cotton Candy at number 4. Fruity Rainbow at 3, Cotton Candy at number 4. The flavors are good. They're delicious. They're crisp. They're refreshing. 0 sugar. No crash later. Find your new favorite flavor, 5-hour energy shots, available at 5hourenergy.com, or you can find them on Amazon. Today's episode is also brought to you by our sponsors over at Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDON for $20 off your first purchase. Terms do apply. The reason Game Time is so great is you see your all-in cost right away. There's nothing like being in an NBA arena, and you can do this from – I've done this before, from the box office, where I ask them about the tickets and I just don't like the prices, and I legit go on the Game Time app, and you just cop them then and there. All-in price right there, panoramic views of your seats. They're going to give you the best deals. The closer you get to tip, concert, show, the better deals you're going to get. So download the Game Time app, create an account, use code LOCKEDON for $20 off your first purchase. That's code LOCKEDON for $20 off. Download the Game Time app today. And remember, it's gametime.co, not .com. All right, let's get back to the show.
And buddy, stop trying to dribble the ball.
Some other things that I wanted to talk about from this game today. I love how in the notes I put that Shia LaBeouf wants to beat the hell out of Mike Piazza. I don't know if you've seen that interview, but Mike Piazza did not sign for Shia LaBeouf growing up, and he really, really hates him. But LeBron, Luka, and Reeves accounting for all but 2. I said 3. It was 2 field goals in the first half, either scoring or assisting. That is your game, set, and match. It's LeBron, it's Reeves, it's Luka against, Moody Gee and Melton. It just was not a fair matchup. And again, that goes back to the whole Draymond conversation. Like, offensively, when you need a bucket, you typically rely on a guy when your $60 million player is out and your $56 million player, give or take, is out. You rely on the guy that makes 28, give or take, to be the next in line to score some points. And Draymond just doesn't give it to you. He's a specialist at this point. And that's why we've heard rumblings of a potential super sub and a potential role change to where they called it an evolution. And the crowd went crazy last night with the Pokemon references. They're like, is that Professor Oak? Yeah, baby. I got all the badges. We took down Gary. Jeff Armbruster in the chat was like, I have no idea what language you're talking about, son, but I don't like it. And I was just saying, sometimes you have to evolve. Like Draymond Green's role has to evolve. You can only hit teleport on the Abra so many times before a Pidgey hits you with a quick attack and you're dead. Boop, dead. Anyways, locked on Pokemon, apparently. Warriors, they are now on the season 31-29. They dropped to 19-12 at Chase Center on the season. 3 games behind Phoenix, 4.5 behind the Lakers right now. So they had a chance to make up some ground on the Lakers. They did not do so. They'll take on the Clippers on Monday. That's a 7:00 tip at Chase. And the Warriors look to get back to their winning ways. I mean, their last few have been weird. They had that amazing first half against the Nuggets, that great fourth quarter where Podziemski went I don't even know who to compare him to. Like Mini Manu. He just went wild down the stretch, making every play. Has not done that since. No one's really done that since. Against the Grizzlies, it was a heroic team effort. Everyone looked good. The Grizzlies just looked really bad, but the Warriors were making shots. It was cohesive. Pelicans, not the case at all. They didn't play a great game, and New Orleans took advantage of it at the Smoothie King Center. And then the Lakers tonight, it was the worst of the entire 4, the most lopsided of the entire 4, the only one in the entire 4 that you knew comparable to the Celtics, to where you just knew it was 1,000% over. But aside from that stretch, you go back and they played the Spurs tough right before the All-Star break, before falling in the 4th without having enough. And aside from that, they played the Sixers like a month ago when this Steph Curry injury happened, and it was that was ugly. That was the start to ugly. So you go through the last 10 games that the Warriors have played without Steph. They go 4-6 during that stretch. That's kind of what they are. If you're a 4-6 team, you're likely not going to get out of the play-in. And if that's the case, the Warriors would have the slightest chance to find their way into the top 5 of the NBA draft, or at least, maybe pick 7 or something like that in a loaded draft. My team, Cincinnati, I've told you all, I like my Bearcats. We got to do Bob Miller. That he can't really shoot, but he can be the new role that Draymond is. But no, they're great players throughout college basketball right now that you can really look at to come in on the cheap and really shore up some holes. I think there are probably 6-7 guys in next year's draft that you can look at that are plug and play types of dudes, kind of like this year's, to where you can plug and play them on a good team and they're just solid dudes. I think it's maybe not the Wemby Brandon Miller, I believe, was the draft a couple of years ago, where that thing was just freaking loaded at the top. But I do think, 1 through 10, you're going to have a bunch of guys that contributed a high level from day one. So that's your consolation prize. If Curry doesn't come back, it's not the worst thing in the world when you look at it from that way. When you look at this thing honestly, from a fan perspective, just this team, Jimmy Butler went down with an ACL injury, and Steph Curry has been out with runner's knee. When you look at those two things and your third highest paid player is Draymond Green, you're screwed. You're flat out screwed. And just by being a realist with yourself and not blaming Kerr every single day and not blaming Dunleavy every single day and not blaming this and that, like you could throw blame at a lot of people, and you could throw blame on the fact that this team's third best player, third highest paid player is Draymond Green, and you haven't found youth to develop to where you can rely on someone consistently on a night like tonight when you have the skeleton crew. But I mean, if this team had Curry and Butler, it's a different story. They were hitting stride. We'll never know, but this would have been a completely different game, and it would have been one that was worthy of being on primetime, because it wasn't tonight. 129 for the Lakers, 101 for the Golden State Warriors. We'll see you after the Clippers game. Have yourself a fantastic weekend. Warriors lose. See you, everyone.